Alright guys, I guess we'll get underway here. My name's Donnie. I'm a client relations manager here at TS2. We specialize in making placements in the interactive and mobile advertising and digital space. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce my president and CEO, Yoshimi.
Hi. Thank you very much for coming out on such a busy Monday night. Man, you guys are ahead of the rest of the crowd. I mean, usually the Monday blue, it's a tough day. So thank you very much. Before my close to 20 years of recruiting career, my first job after college was actually advertising. I joined a small advertising agency called Dentsu. Does anybody know Dentsu? Small. It's a $17 billion advertising conglomerate. And they acquire, well, they own Aegis. It's a British-based digital, what is it? Aegis is, I guess, digital arm of the advertising. And then they just recently acquired Carrot, or Carrot? Carrot. It's a French-based company, right? This company is amazing. Does anybody know about Carrot or Carrot? What do you know about them?
Yeah, big ad agency, and as one of the things I learned with them is one of their big accounts is Adidas, not Adidas. So you quickly learn how to say it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a media agency, and yeah, the Ad Age selected them as the agency of the year 2014. They've been getting clients such as General Motors. You know, if you're in the advertising space, automotive accounts huge, and Red Bull is so hot, cool, and Sony, Macy's, Danone, and Staples, all those accounts. They're growing so fast. And I know these accounts, these companies too, because my staff, like Donnie and other people, are always like trying to recruit candidates out of Carrot or Carrot. And yeah, we're trying to get the business from them. I just found out. So back at my Dentsu time, one of my very first boss, he actually got appointed to oversee this Aegis group, including Carrot or Carrot. Yeah, it's a small world, and it's a really hot space. They do mobile advertising and video advertising as well. So I'm so excited to have this great group of panelists, experts in this mobile advertising space, and so that I can get really educated and I can go back to my old boss. What do you know about mobile advertising? You probably doesn't know. So, great. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. So just to give you guys an idea, after I introduce the panelists one by one, we'll have probably a 45-minute or so panel discussion. And because it's such an intimate setting, I would encourage questions, although we do want to keep on point with the topics. So we'll be respectful of that. After that, we'll open it up to an open Q&A for about 15-20 minutes.
Questions and also comments and like disagreements. We love it.
Yeah,
Please.
and then after that, we'll see who the lucky winner of a raffle is. And then afterwards, please feel free to stay and join us for more networking, food and drinks. Okay. So with that said, I guess why don't we start with Tim, and why don't you just name, title, company you're with, and a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Tim Studler, SVP of Monetization and Business Development at AdColony. AdColony is 100% exclusively in-app mobile video. We have a proprietary technology called Instant Play that enables us to deliver video in-app in high definition with zero load time or buffering. And I joined the company actually the night that we launched back in March of 2011 at GDC in San Francisco. Worked with our CEO previously at Activision, Wilkes Hoy, who was the head of marketing at Activision and CEO of AdColony. And I run the monetization side of our business. So we partner with publishers who integrate our SDK and then receive mobile video advertising revenue.
Cool.
I'm Fernando Pizarro. I'm the General Manager of North America for Aya Mobile, which is actually a Chinese mobile company that has a few different parts, but the part that's relevant for this evening is a business called AppFlood, which is a mobile ad network. It started as a cross-promotion network, so if you're familiar with Chartbooth, it was sort of like that, but on Android. And we've since evolved into a mobile ad exchange, so we do programmatic buying and selling of mobile advertising. And we're very focused on China, so we've very recently kind of really started focusing a lot of our sales and BD activity within the Chinese market, which is different from what we were doing before. We were very global prior to that. So you focus on video, we focus primarily on display, so interstitials and banners, but we recently launched also our own rich media ad.
Hi, Elgin Kim, and one of the co-organizers and co-founder for Mobile Monday Silicon Beach. And we focus on kind of bringing awareness to the mobile industry here in Southern California. If you don't know what Mobile Monday is, it's a global organization, nonprofit that started in Finland, and it's all about bringing discussion and kind of networking, getting to know people within our community to kind of help figure stuff out essentially in mobile. But personally, on top of that, I previously worked for Slacker Radio, focused on monetization and revenue for 3 years. I headed all the mobile monetization stuff there. And now I'm consulting for a few different companies like TuneIn Radio, focused on programmatic monetization, Samsung Milk, building out their ad business and strategy. And then there's a local company here in Pasadena, Uber Media, which is focused on audience-based targeting. And then I'm working with a couple of other startups on kind of building the revenue strategy.
Hi everybody, my name is Greg Davis. I run the digital department at a company called Milner Butcher Media Group. So the division is called MBMG Digital. And interesting you talked about Kara because the M and the B, Milner and Butcher, started and ran a company called International Communications Group, ICG, for about 20 years. So late 90s, late 70s to late 90s. And that was the second largest media buying company in the US. There's another company, and this is actually when media was really West Coast run. And it moved to New York. And this company was sold to Kara and gave Kara a US presence. Majority of their US presence came from buying ICG and ICG's clients. So anyway, MVMG has been around for probably about 10 years. The digital department I started about 2.5 years ago. We buy media, we're a media buying company. So we buy all digital platforms. So I guess I could represent the buying side of the business. Some of our clients, just to give you some context, like who we are, the stuff that we buy, is we've got El Pollo Loco, the General Insurance, UCLA Health, Natural History Museum, the Getty, Honda Jet. So it's, we've got mostly consumer-facing type accounts.
Well, let's get started. So, just want to start by a quick intro. As we know, the advertising industry has really been changing rapidly over the past few years. So while traditional forms of branding and marketing is still apparent in today's world, we've really developed new technologies that have allowed us to be much more analytical and more targeted in our approach to sending advertisements to consumers. Taking data from different cohorts can really tell us the best times, best gender, age range, even down to the specific geographical location where it's okay to send someone a specific targeted ad. That leads to some questions like, how do we make sure these advertisements don't take away from user personal experience? What new types of ways are we showing ads, banner ads, video ads, dynamic ads? How do we streamline these processes with all the data we collect? And ultimately, what do we think about the future of mobile advertising and where it's heading? So, to start, I'd like to open this question actually to everyone on the panel. The topic of native advertising has been popping up everywhere. Native advertising is an online mobile advertising method in which the advertiser attempts to gain attention by providing content in the context of the user experience. Can you experts shed some light on native advertising and how you're making these advertising campaigns less intrusive to the user's experience?
I'll go. I'll start on this. And that's simply because working with the TuneIn folks, because TuneIn is a pretty big music property. They're global. They serve billions of impressions, 6 billion impressions per month. And their audience, their unique audience is huge globally. So you've got companies like MoPub, who got bought out by Twitter, and the InMobies of the world, big major ad network, always trying to pitch native to TuneIn. And the confusion that we're seeing right now was native, when it first started, I think a lot of the news publications adapted native. And a good friend of mine, who's actually my boss at Slacker, who is the SVP of US sales over at The Guardian, he's focused on native because it works for news. But if you look at other properties, then you start to define what is native, right? Native, in the news sense, was like this contextual stuff that kind of fit in with the content. Native for non-news and verbal content, it started to get really confusing, and now it just looks like people are confusing native with graphics that kind of blend into your graphics, right? So is that just kind of more like placement, in the old gaming space, we would call that product placement almost, right? So is that native or product placement, right? And so I think there's a lot of confusion, but kind of going to your question, I think there are some good points to native and there's some bad points to native. Good is driving CPMs higher, right? Because it provides a different ad unit, a different experience to the advertiser, and advertisers are saying, okay, it's not your typical 325, 50 ad unit. The click-throughs may be better, and that's the stats right now. So the CPMs are better. So in the publisher perspective, at TuneIn, we're like, okay, native sounds good. However, the bad is the scalability, because if you're looking at an advertiser, and even if as a publisher you go into an advertiser and say, hey, we've got native, which is basically, in our sense, right, is not the contextual sense in news publications, but graphical, you're dealing with creative agencies that have to build different ad units, right? So the CPMs may be good, but as far as your overall spend that you may get from an advertiser, I think there's going to be that scalability issue. So I think it will be played out, and I think the definition of native will also be played out. But I think that word is just getting thrown out there a little bit too loosely.
I agree. I don't know what he's talking about with CPMs that are higher or is good. That's not my world. We like low. But I agree, though. I think that it's been thrown around a lot, and it's been confusing. Like you end up getting these things that are sold to you as native, and it's just bad. I think taking a bigger step back, to have ads be natural in the path of the user. They're looking at content, give them an ad that is organic and natural to the flow of that. That's good. If you're finding someone online and they don't have kids, don't give them an ad for Pampers. But at the same time, ads are good because, how else would you know that, Janelle Monáe is playing at the Hollywood Bowl or whatever. So there's information that you get from ads, and it's a good thing. So I think that blending content and advertising messages is a great thing, and this is a step towards that, philosophical move. I don't think that at this point, sometimes it gets confusing, but right now, native, I tend to think, it gets overworked. It's really expensive. You get the scale out of it. We've had a few investments that have just gone bad. They just weren't worth it. We've also had, and I will just mention this because I think that was your question, an example of something that was really great. One of our clients is Uniball Pens. It's a new Rubbermaid brand, and quite frankly, you know, come the beginning of the year in January, no one really cares about a roller gel pen. You just don't, you know.